I'm confident that whatever monster Matthew Murdock has to stop, he'll stop him. And speaking of stopping monsters, see you on a future live stream. Fancy cover. So, Daredevil Born Again has been hyped up on Disney Plus for some time, and a lot of Marvel fans, let alone people who keep up with Disney content for better or for worse via Marvel Star Wars, are very much burnt out with all the lackluster quality content that Disney, especially through Disney Plus, has been churning out over the years. Disney Plus promised some riveting shows, but unfortunately Phases 4 and 5 of Marvel did not deliver for the most part. And so along came Daredevil Born Again, which was promising to continue the show and possibly revive some cancelled scripts for the cancelled seasons of Daredevil. Now, going into Daredevil Born Again, I've noticed there was a wide variety of mixed reactions. I noticed that there were people who really didn't like it, and there were people who really adored it, and other people thinking it was somewhere in the middle. Given these mixed reactions, me and my friend Squid Bear decided, okay, you know what? Let's just go in and judge for ourselves. And having seen the first 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again, the consensual agreement is that it's pretty good. It's not terrible, but it's not masterfully done. The consented opinion is that it's tolerable. It's tolerable. And you know what? If the rest of the show is tolerable, I'm okay with that, because myself and others are just so burnt out with all the woke, hypocritical baloney that people had to put up with. You know, the stuff I'm talking about. Disregarding of legacy male heroes, the uplifting of irritating girl boss characters who never go through any actual personal growth, the overt political allegories that get in the way of just enjoying the story as a story, you know, as well as the disdain towards the white man and nobody else is accountable. You know, that kind of double standard, hypocritical baloney we've had to put up with for the past 9 years or so. And watching these first 2 episodes, this show could have easily have gone down that slope. I mean, easily, if you understand the context of the show. But, thankfully, thank God, it seems that with the writing talent of Punisher, even though that show received negative reception compared to the Daredevil show on Netflix, the show actually turned out to be alright so far. I don't see anyone making a big fuss out of it compared to other shows, especially when you compare it to The Acolyte. Don't get me started on The Acolyte. In many ways, Daredevil Born Again does carry on what made Daredevil work so well and even add some additional flair to it. On the other hand, there is this undeniable element of awkwardness which could add some charm to it, or maybe not, depending how you're approaching it. But here's the thing. You need to understand that the reason why so many people are quite critical about this show, the reason why so many people have such high standards for this continuation of the show was because the original show was so good. People put the original Netflix Daredevil show up there with the likes of Breaking Bad and Cowboy Bebop as one of the best shows ever made. It's that good. So when people begin to see something that's less than masterful, especially if they're fans of the original show, they are going to notice. That is inevitable. The opening, despite a few dodgy elements, was masterfully done. I really love the use of aspect ratio to tell the story and to visually showcase Matthew Murdock's superpowers for anyone who's been missing out for quite some time. And it does continue on right from where season 3 left off, although later on it's implied that Hawkeye, Echo, and She-Hulk are presumably canon. I was going into this expecting to just pretend that the depiction of the Daredevil characters in Hawkeye, Echo, and She-Hulk didn't happen, but there's this one conversation between Matthew Murdock and Wilson Fisk which seems to indicate it did happen, but at the same time, they're having a laugh about it, so it could have been worse, you know? But anyway, back to the beginning. It seems that a lot of time has passed, which would justify certain lore elements, like how Wilson Fisk is able to rise to power to the point of becoming mayor of New York. Some people have problems with that, but we'll get to that. Anyway, I need to concentrate on the opening. Come on, keep your standards, Cal! Much like the show, I guess. So, we begin with Matthew Murdock going out to the pub with his lawyer friends, Foggy, Paige, and all the rest. When suddenly they get attacked by Poindexter. Yes, Poindexter does return, as indicated by what we've seen from behind-the-scenes footage. And something very, very horrible happens, which breaks Matthew Murdock's poor heart. And so he retires from being Daredevil. 1 year later, Wilson Fisk has built up enough of a wholesome reputation where he's claimed to have left his Kingpin persona behind him and is becoming the mayor of New York City. And after he and Matthew Murdock get together for a nice casual cup of coffee at a cafe, it seems he really means it. Much like Penguin in that one episode of Batman the Animated Series, if you get what I mean. And so Matthew Murdock says, okay, if you really have changed your ways, there's no reason for me to come after you. But, as much as I believe in grace, I also believe in retribution. So, if I get a hint of you being Kingpin, I'm coming for you. And Kingpin says something likewise. So, tensions are building up, and character dramas are very much at play here. But it seems that it's implied that, against Matthew Murdock's will for now, he's going to have to go back to being his Daredevil persona. And it seems that his personal faith is being tested once again. And certainly things are shaking up in New York City. And there's some fairly questionable elements that happen. I mean, with how brutal the series gets, people are questioning, wait, did Matthew Murdock actually kill someone at the end of episode 2? Or was that a case of manslaughter in a fit of self-defense? It's hard to tell at this point. We'll have to wait until episode 3 and the rest of the series, for that matter, comes out. We'll have to wait and see. All I know is that the actor who played Punisher has made it clear that he's only going to portray the Punisher if the stuff that the character's in is good. So, from what we've seen so far, it's not bad. It doesn't quite have the same feel as the original. Although, to be fair, some could counterbalance that by saying, well, this is a reboot of a show, as well as a sequel to the show, similar to Season 5 of Samurai Jack in many ways, or certain other continuations of other shows like that you could imagine. Although people did have problems with Season 5 of Samurai Jack, but so, yeah, I guess the point still stands. The debate as to the quality of the show is still up in the air because the opening action sequence did have a bit of dodgy CGI, and some of the costumes seemed a bit too saturated in their color scheme to match the original grit and tone of the original. Although, to be fair, you could say maybe they're being more lore accurate, where the colors were exaggerated just by the use of visual storytelling. I guess it's debatable, but the general consensus is that so far it's not as masterfully done as the original Daredevil show. And it is a fair point to make because the original show just had such an excellently high standard for what makes for good storytelling. So it's hard to say, but I will wait until the rest of the series comes up. So what do you think of Daredevil Born Again? Let me know in the comments down below. We'll get a conversation started. In the meantime, Scott Stinker signing out.